Today we are going to dive deep into Lewis's story and really get to know the man behind Start Trading.
Help!
Because you are Start Trading, it's your baby.
Yeah.
And people want to get to know you, why you've done it, what's going on for you right now.
For me as well, people are sometimes surprised when I say I'm not passionate about trading in and of itself. What I'm passionate about is what trading does for other people and what it's done for me. That's what I'm passionate about. So I'm always going to find myself in a position where I'm helping people. That's never not going to be where I'm at. So whatever I end up doing is always going to have that element. Whether it's making me money or not making me money is kind of irrespective. It's always what I'm going to want to be doing.
Hi, and welcome to the Star Trading Podcast with me, Sophie.
And me, Lewis.
And today we are going to dive deep into Lewis's story and really get to know the man behind Start Trading.
Help!
Are you ready?
No.
Well, I thought this was a good episode because you are Start Trading. It's your baby.
Yeah.
And people want to get to know you, why you've done it, what's going on for you right now.
Yeah.
So let's start with you. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in North London, a little place called High Barnet. Not High Hare, High Barnet. Which is the most northerly stop on the northern line of the London Underground system.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's where I grew up.
Yeah, tell me about your family.
Mum and dad, Pat and Pete. Mum from Norfolk, dad from Lancashire. Although my mum does not have a Norfolk accent because she refused to.
What does a Norfolk accent sound like?
I'm going to embarrass myself and my family now. So I can only introduce my family with a Norfolk accent. You right, Nige? How are you doing?
Oh, okay.
Got a few of those going on. That's a bit Norfolk, that.
Yeah, okay.
So a little bit West Country, but with a slightly slower twang on some of the words. So like, instead of few, they say foo, which is always quite funny when you hear it.
But your mum doesn't sound like that.
No. She trained as a drama teacher, and she did a lot of Amdram and things like that. So she lost the accent intentionally.
Okay.
And yeah, so they were both teachers, so I grew up around teachers. I rebelled against the school system as a result because my parents were teachers, and lo and behold I ended up as a teacher, just in a slightly different way anyway. So it's in my blood. My parents were teachers, their parents were teachers as well. My mum's dad was an art teacher, fantastic artist. That skipped me. My mum's a good artist as well, actually.
But you do like a bit of art.
I love a bit of art, but I like buying it. I'm not very
doing
it. No, I do actually. I really like doing art. I'm just not good at doing the art. So I have really nice ideas, I think, but cannot paint for toffee. So yes, that was them. Normal family. Got one older sister. She's a couple of years older than me. She's absolutely killing it in her career. She's amazing. She always wants more time with me, and I don't give it to her because I'm just busy, which I always feel bad about. But yeah, she's just had a little baby, so I'm an uncle.
Aww.
Yeah, technically through her husband, he's got a couple of kids from a previous relationship, so I was already an uncle, but biologically an uncle now as well, which is a different experience, which is quite cool, seeing the baby from day one, which has put me off having twins because I realised how much hard work even one is. And yeah, so I live now in I'm kind of jumping right to the end, aren't I? But I live now on the border of Lincolnshire and Norfolk with my husband, and we love our new house. We've just painted it.
It's very nice. I'm very honoured to be a guest here.
And we love it here. So we were in East London, decided we wanted peace and quiet, wanted space. And so we decided to move from a 2.5 bed to a 7 bed, 1 acre plot of land with no neighbours. For that peace and quiet, and I love it, absolutely love it. Yeah,
it's beautiful. So let's go back to your school days. How was school for you?
So my primary school was quite good. It was a one class school, so quite a small school. Not one class, each year group only had one class, so it was quite small, which was quite nice. It's just down the road. So I had au pairs that used to look after me because my parents were teachers as well, so they'd have to go to school, different schools to mine. So we'd have au pairs that looked after us, which was quite good because I was automatically meeting people every year from different countries, which I think maybe helped inspire a bit of a desire to travel. I always wanted to learn other languages, but I was terrible at them as well. So English is the only thing I can talk, and a few swear words and a few other choice languages as well. So yeah, I was always around people from other cultures. My parents were very social people, so I became a very social person as well. I was very much used to them entertaining, having people over, godparents, things like that. So that was primary school. Then secondary school, went to a bigger school, which was a bit of a culture shock. Went to one which was not down the road, so I had to get a bus and everything like that, which is definitely character forming. Yeah, but also now I refuse to get buses. Lots of traumatic events on buses with the older kids. I don't know. Every time on the school bus on the way back, there was always older kids kind of giving you grief or whatever. Yeah. But which was quite fun sometimes, but sometimes it just was a bit of a stressful experience.
But now these kids have all got phones and stuff, so they've got all that to deal with on the bus. And
yeah. So I quite enjoyed school. When I was in secondary school, I was part of I grew up very Christian. My parents weren't particularly super Christian, but I kind of chose it. So in my teen years, I was very heavily involved in the church. And so I was, set up a Christian club. Well, actually, I joined a Christian club and then made it go bigger because that's what I seem to do. That was quite good fun, but I never really fitted in at school. I think because of having that Christian element and that faith element to me, which a lot of people didn't, it automatically separated you. People felt like you were judging them, which I probably was, to be honest. I didn't think I was, but if you do have a particular worldview and other people don't match it, then you do automatically create a separation between you and them. So even if you don't feel it, they do, because they're aware of what your belief system is, and this isn't right, that isn't right. Snogging girls, sleeping with girls, whatever it was back then wasn't right. Smoking. I remember one of my friends secretly smoking, sinning, and he refused to tell me. I was really upset that he not told me he was smoking. I was like, I don't really care. He was like, yeah, but you're Christian. I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
What drew you to the church then?
Oh, no, that's a deep question. Partly community. I think in later years I've done a lot of therapy and self-reflective work, and I basically had a lot of trauma as a child that I wasn't aware I had. And one of the things that trauma can do is it can force your brain into needing safety. And one of the ways that it creates safety is it creates black and white. So what the church offered me, I didn't realise this back then, but what it offered me is very much a black and white, clear rule system that I could make myself feel safe within. Now, I don't think that's what it is for everybody, but that's what I think in part it was for me that attracted me to it. And then through the local church, we had youth groups, which was quite fun, place for me to belong, feel connected, whereas at school I didn't feel very connected to my own family at the time. So again, church provided me a place to feel connected and a sense of family. And again, none of that is really my parents' fault. It just is what it is at that point in my life. So I got very involved in the church. I'd go on summer camps with the church, and through the church I was speaking a lot in front of people, teaching, training, mentoring about Bible things. But I got very comfortable being in front of people as a result of that. I discovered that I absolutely loved to sing, and people thought I was an okay singer, so I did more of that. I got the opportunity to speak in front of large crowds of people, which was scary but exciting. And then when I was 18, 19, within the church that I was now working with in America, I decided to train as one of their counselors / therapists in the church. And that's where I really realized, and what came alive in me was this desire to help other people. And so it was actually when I was going through the process of training to be a counselor that I realized I had my own issues, which is often the case. So anyone who's doing counselling work in any way will end up having to go through their own counselling as well as part of the process. And I suddenly realised, I've got all this crap that I didn't realise about, and it all started to unravel in my early 20s, which was good fun.
So what happened when you left school?
So I left school. I decided to do a gap year when I was 18, not to do the usual stuff of travelling around the world, because remember I was very heavily involved in the church and travelling and drinking and sinning all over the place. I mean, it sounds like a great laugh now. I decided to do a gap year at a church in Sheffield. So I went to Sheffield. I did this character development year where you were helping the local community and helping the church do whatever they were doing within the local community, which was great. It was lovely, and learning stuff about spirituality and the church and the Bible and all of that. So I really, really enjoyed the year. It was a tough year. Again, I didn't really feel like I fitted in. Wasn't quite everything that I felt like I was, but it was still really good. And it was in that year that I discovered this group in America, and that's when I started traveling to America a lot to do training with them. So I left school, did that gap year, and then a year later I decided I really liked Sheffield, so I wanted to stay. I hadn't planned to go to university at all. I just was going to be working in the church, and decided to go to university. Decided to stay at university in Sheffield, where I did sociology. So I did a sociology degree, spent 3 years there, met incredible people, loved them to pieces. Most of whom I don't speak to now because of who I am now, and that doesn't fit in with their worldview, which is a shame because I love them to pieces, and we had a very, very good community and a very good friendship back then.
Yeah. What worldview was that?
that was very, well, I'm not going to say small-minded, but they don't think that being gay is okay, that they're right, you're wrong. Very rule-based system, very religious. A lot of them don't drink, anything like that.
So you hadn't come out at that stage?
No. So I was 26 when I came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a virgin as well. Can you imagine me? Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so you have a sociology degree.
Sociology degree, and I've got a master's degree now as well in theology, so when I left uni, I moved back to London, and I didn't know what to do. So one night I had a dream that I was doing a master's, so I applied to do a master's at the local theology college and got accepted.
Nice.
So I did that for a year whilst working in retail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. How was theology?
Again, where I was back then, I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I actually really like learning, and it ignited that learning desire in me and reading and everything like that, which I've continued with today. Like, I absolutely love learning and reading stuff and applying it and thinking about what I think about what I'm learning. So yeah, it was really, really good. Really, really enjoyed it.
And when you were doing that, where did you see your career / life going?
Still at that point working in the church. So there was a big plan for me to actually move over to America because I became ordained in a church over there. So there's a big plan to have me move over there and basically set up churches and build churches and a whole network of churches over there. So that was the plan.
There's a universe where you're doing that.
Yeah, there probably is a universe where I'm doing that, yeah. And I'm probably having a great time.
Yeah, preaching,
yeah. And again, it all comes down to my internal core values of empowering and helping people. That's why it was, in a way, a good fit, although it was damaging in certain ways for me. It was amazing for me in other ways. And I think if I wasn't who I was from a sexuality perspective, I would probably still be there.
Wow.
Because I loved it.
Yeah. What a big shame for the church.
What a shame for them, yeah. But it's a great news for the trading world.
Exactly.
So there we go. So I'm always going to find myself in a position where I'm helping people.
Yeah.
That's never not going to be where I'm at.
Yeah.
So whatever I end up doing is always going to have that element.
Yeah.
Whether it's making me money or not making me money is kind of irrespective.
Yeah.
It's always what I'm going to want to be doing.
Yeah.
Ideally
That's
doing
your
it whilst
mission,
making
that's
money.
your value.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the retail job you took?
I was working for Dorothy Perkins and Burton Menswear.
Nice.
And then when I left, they failed.
What do you mean?
They don't exist anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not saying it was related to me, but
What were you doing for them?
Originally shop floor, then I moved to head office. I was doing logistics and distribution, and then what's called a merchandising role, where you basically decide what stock goes into what stores.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did you leave?
I realised when I looked at my boss's boss that I would be doing the same thing for the rest of my life in an office with people that I kind of liked but also didn't. And I didn't want that to be my life forever. And I always thought when I have kids one day, because I do want to have kids, that I wouldn't be spending my time with them. I'd be spending my time in an office. And I was like, that doesn't seem right to me. So I've always found it weird that we give the best hours of our day to people who care the least about us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who would replace us like that.
Yeah.
So I started looking into other forms of making money, and I discovered Rich Dad Poor Dad, discovered property investing through his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then I signed up for a seminar in London. And I got there and it was the wrong seminar. It was the trading seminar, not the property seminar. But I thought, well, hey, I'm here now. I may as well get on with it. So call it divine intervention, call it providence, whatever you want to call it. I just sat in the room and I was like, ticks on my boxes. So I was like, brilliant, I can travel around the world, I can make money anywhere, it's not going to take me all the time to do it. So I got involved, took out a loan, took out a credit card, took out, in that basically half my annual salary at the time. So it was about 10 grand. So I was only getting paid like 19 grand a year. And I put it all into this mentorship program.
After one seminar?
It's one seminar, a weekend training.
Yeah.
And then, that.
Okay, so what did they tell you in the seminar?
You'll be rich, Harry. You're a wizard. No, they said they just said what it was, and they said this is the life you can create if you follow these steps in this process. Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool. And I'm not naive enough to think it was going to be easy, but I was like, I want to do it. Like, that's the life I want to create for myself. So I was like, what's it worth? And it's worth everything I have. Yeah. If that's going to be the life that I create. Yeah. So I did it. Took out the loan, took out the credit card, ridiculous interest on it. I was like, I'm going to go for it. And what that did was I'd invested time, money and energy into myself, and I had to make it work.
Yeah.
Like I had to. So do I necessarily recommend other people do that? No. Do I think it's a bad decision? No, because it was the right decision for me and it's what I wanted. So I went for it. And 7 months after making that decision, I left my job and started trading and traveling the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what training did they give you?
Similar to kind of what I offer to people, but I think we do a better job of it.
Yeah.
So like that was more en masse, whereas we, like as we said in previous episodes, we cap our trainings to 4 people.
Yeah.
We have a proper community. Again, I'm not going to be shitting on them. They did an amazing job with me. I do think we have a more engaged community than they had back then. They just basically helped me. Overall, it was a really good mentorship because they did that thing of this is the knowledge, this is how you apply it, let's make sure you're applying it correctly.
Yeah.
So the good parts of all of that I've modelled in what we do now as well.
Yeah. So you were 10 grand in debt at that point. You were still working retail.
Yeah.
And then what was the point where you quit? Had you started live trading by then?
Started live
and
trading,
thinking, this is going to work?
Yeah, started live trading and I was making enough from my trading. I wasn't making thousands of pounds or anything, but I was making enough to cover my bills and expenses at the time. Now I was a single guy. I didn't have high rent. I didn't have like loads of bills. Didn't have kids or anything to look after. Didn't have a car, so I had low expenses. So it was easier for me to do that from that perspective. And I just knew this is what I wanted to do and I wanted to go for it. If I'm honest, I left my job too quick. And I'd had other failed business ventures before that. So I ran a food van.
Did you?
At a music festival, yeah, which actually would have gone quite well for a longer period if we'd done it for a longer period of time. But it was a one-off event.
What kind of food was it?
I was doing chips and salads.
Okay.
Yeah, balance in it.
Yeah.
So sweet potato fries, normal fries, and then various toppings to go on top of them. I actually loved it. And I've never worked so hard in my life doing that. That made me realise I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to work for me.
Yeah.
And I did. And then I discovered trading after that. And I was like, this is way better than running a food van.
Yeah. Okay, so within a year of learning to trade, you quit your job and it was covering your expenses.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then as I was doing that, after I'd been doing that for a little bit of time, don't remember exactly if I'm honest, but somewhere between 6 and 12 months, Rich Dad asked me to come and do a testimonial because obviously I was making a success of it, I was making it work. So I went and spoke to a room of people, gave my story, and they realised I was really good in front of people.
Yeah.
Well, I've been speaking in front of people since I was 14.
Yeah.
Like it's a very comfortable position for me, and I love flirting with a crowd. So other people have a splash zone, I've got a flirt zone. So if you're too close to the front, you're going to get flirted with. So I did that, and then they asked me to come and start teaching for them. Then they realised I was quite good at teaching. So then whilst I was travelling around the world, I would navigate where they had events on, because Rich Dad's international, and I'd end up teaching at different places that I was going travelling to, which is really good fun.
What were you teaching?
Predominantly trading, but also some property investment as well. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That must have been so fun.
It was really fun.
Like, who was in the room? What kind of people were you teaching?
Various people who've got loads of money, people who've got absolutely no money and right at the start of their journey, which again is why I want to help people at all levels. I'm not really interested in only going after high net worths. Yes, it's fun to work with them because they've got money in the bank to start off with, but I also want to help people who, like me, were right at the start of their wealth creation journey and needed to take the steps to get to where they are now. And it was whilst I was working for Rich Dad that I met a load of property investors, and I started investing in property as well, because I was like, oh, I want a piece of that pie, and realised I hate it for all the reasons I've talked about before. Still believe in it. I'm still like buying an HMO at the moment, in the process of doing that, so I still 100% believe in it, but it's never going to be my primary focus because I do not enjoy it. People who enjoy it, you can tell they enjoy it, and that's not me.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy it, but I like the diversification of it.
Yeah.
I remember someone put a social media post up the other day about a refurb, like the whole process. And they're like, what's your favourite part of the refurb? And some people were like, oh, I like the back to brick. Oh, I like the first fix. I like the interior design. And my answer was like, the end.
The end. Get it done.
When it's done, refinance, rent it out. I was like, maybe I'm not, maybe I don't want to be doing all these refurbs, things like that.
And that's okay. Like for me as well, people are sometimes surprised when I say I'm not passionate about trading in and of itself. What I'm passionate about is what trading does for other people and what it's done for me. That's what I'm passionate about. Could not give a crap about candles, the way it moves. Like, I don't really care. It's a vehicle that's created a life that I wanted and that I now use as a vehicle to help other people create the life that they want. And as a vehicle I use to create enough capital to start investing in property too. Yeah. So I love it from what it does, not from what it is. And similar with property, I love the fact it's an asset that I can pass on to kids in the future. But I don't love the actual process of it.
Yeah. So how long was that period where you were travelling and training for Rich Dad Poor Dad?
So probably about 4 or 5 years. Yeah, probably about 4 or 5 years.
What were your highs and lows over that time?
Lows were Durban. I did not like Durban as a place. And I think I was just going through a bit of an existential crisis whilst I was there. So I remember lying in bed and thinking, I've got all this resource in me and I'm not giving it to people. Like, yes, I'm teaching people through Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I just felt like there was more that I could be giving than that. And I was still going through like that tension period of leaving the church and really identifying who I was and what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be in the world and what I wanted to give to the world. So I was kind of like in this crisis, and it was kind of from I remember laying in that bed in Durban in a hotel, nice hotel, and just thinking the only way I can achieve what I want to achieve is through business. And so I have to set up a business. So originally I was going to set up STARTrading to be a funnel into Rich Dad. And it just kind of, through word of mouth, became its whole separate thing, like unintentionally. And people wanted me to teach them and me to mentor them and me to coach them. I was like, oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
This is a thing now.
Yeah.
So it kind of started to grow from there. But that I remember having that, not midlife crisis, but in my late 20s crisis of thinking, what am I doing? I need to do something that has a bigger impact. And and I think that happens with people who do want to genuinely help people and have an impact. You kind of reach these stages like, right, I've done that now. How can I have more impact? And I'm kind of in that position again now. So I'm thinking, right, okay, STARTrading's grown. We've helped loads of people now become successful traders and start to change their life or change their life. What's next? Yeah. And that's where things start to get really, really exciting. Scary. Yeah. Because, and by the way, I'm not saying STARTrading is going to close and I'm moving away and doing something else. Like, STARTrading will always be there, I think. But what else can I be doing within STARTrading, outside of STARTrading, in addition to STARTrading, that is going to help impact more people? And part of that is me opening up more about who I am, what I've been through, what I think about certain things, and helping people think about those things for themselves too. So that's why I'm like my weekly / fortnightly emails that are starting to come out now. It's kind of newslettery thought pieces are starting to do a bit of that, which some people hate.
Do they?
Yeah. I'm like, I get messages like, oh, shut up, unsubscribe me. I'm like, cool, bye. Yeah. You're not my person.
Yeah.
Some people getting offended because they've not read the whole email properly. Which is partly because I used a clickbaity title, but they don't read the whole email. So I'm like, oh, that joke has not landed for that person. But yeah, so it's a really interesting journey. Yeah. And it's a vulnerable place. Yeah. Like, it is a very vulnerable place. And I'm just kind of bored of not being vulnerable. I'm always vulnerable on a personal level, but I'm like, okay, right. And I think because there's been a few very tricky emotional things that have happened over the past few months, kind of in quick succession, it's almost like the universe is saying, this is an issue you need to get over it. So I'm forcing myself to get over it, care a lot less about what people think, because if I care less about what people think, I can help the people that do like me, do value what I bring. I can help them even more. Yeah. And that is now becoming way more of an importance to me than what these people over here who don't like me, don't trust me, think I'm this, think I'm that, whatever, who don't actually know me. Yeah. Why am I caring what that voice is? Yeah. But it just feels emotionally very loud. So I'm learning to lower the volume of that voice and care less.
I think the more authentic you can be, the more freeing it is. Like, it's just so freeing when you stop caring, stop giving a shit about anything else. Yeah. And you'll just attract your tribe. You'll just magnetize those people to you. Yeah. And if it sends some people away, you're right. They're just not your people. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I know there'll be people who watch even this podcast and they'll go, oh, I didn't know about that about Lewis. I'm not interested now. Cool. Bye-bye. See you later. And I say that in the nicest possible way. Like, go and have an amazing life. But if that is a problem for you, we're not the right people for you. Go find your tribe. Find the people that you can celebrate with, who love you for who you are, who celebrate who you are, and who you can celebrate as well. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. We should have had wine for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Next time
Should
we'll
we
get shots.
re-record it?
Yeah. Tequila rosés all round. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Durban was a bit of a point for you where you were like, I need to do this. I need to do it for me. So is that where STARTrading was born?
I think the very early conception of it, yes. The realization of I need to do something other than what I'm currently doing, that's definitely was born in that moment. And I just knew the answer was business. It just had to be. It just had to be business. So that's why I set up a business to help people. I would say, to answer the other part of the question, when was what was a high? I'd probably say, again, South Africa, but Cape Town.
Yeah.
So being backstage at a massive event, like probably 4,000 or 5,000 people, and sharing the same stage as Robert Kiyosaki and talking about my investment journey.
Yeah.
That's probably like the biggest highlight that I had whilst I was over there. And again, I just realized I love it. Like, I absolutely love being on stage.
Yeah.
And because you can talk to and impact a lot of people.
Yeah.
In that.
But that's also the authenticity piece. Is like, I've heard recently the term like zone of genius.
Yeah.
And it's where you shine and you're buzzing and you can give and you can receive from the audience. And I think your zone of genius is on a stage.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. As well as teaching and mentoring and helping.
Yeah, I'm a brilliant coach, and I had a pang of arrogance saying that, but it's not from. I'm a brilliant coach because I don't look at what's being presented. I pick up on everything that's underneath. So I'm good at if I'm in a good space and I'm operating from that zone of genius, I identify all that stuff and I bring that out, which makes people better, healthier, happier. And that's from years of counselling and coaching with people and being trained to do that.
Yeah.
And being marginally intuitive, where you can just pick up on when someone isn't necessarily saying the whole truth. Yeah. So when I'm in the right zone of operating, the level of value I can give to someone, because I can pull that stuff out that maybe they're not realising, I can connect dots for them that they're not connecting. I'm fantastic at that. Yeah. Whether that's working on someone's business, because I love a bit of business coaching, whether I'm working on someone's trading, whether I'm working on someone's career, whatever it is, pulling those things out, which are all the mindset stuff, all the internal belief mechanisms that you can then challenge once you identify them, that's where I'm really powerful. So I think I'm a really good inspirer, empowerer, and I love being on stage, so I get to do that a little bit en masse.
Yes. And who does that for you?
Who inspires me?
Yeah, who coaches you?
To speak on stage, I don't have a coach.
But generally?
So I've got a coach at the moment called Shari. She's brilliant, and she does do that for me. So when I sit down with her, we don't even talk about my business, really. We talk about life, and she's like, so no wonder you're feeling this way in your business and in your relationship, because this is what's going on, and then your brain is connecting this and this, and you're putting two and two together, and you're getting 12. I'm like, oh yeah. So and I've got a couple of really good friends that I talk to who help me process all of that stuff as well, and I love a bit of therapy.
Nice.
So, which is often really helpful too. Yeah. Because again, it's just you're in your own way. You can't see your own stuff, and so when you externalize it to an outside voice, an outside person who can reflect back and share with you what is actually going on, it enables you to see yourself differently and hopefully more kindly. I've not been historically very good at looking at myself with kindness. So that's something I'm trying to do more with other people as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about leaving the church?
How long you got? I'll say, so I've had a bit of PR going on and working with a PR company to kind of do some stuff at the moment. And they had a conversation. I kind of laid out the whole journey with the church. And she said, the woman I was talking to who was kind of interviewing me, she's like, it's really interesting because there's absolutely zero bitterness in your voice. And I was like, yeah, there isn't. She's like, but why is that? Like, it was obviously really hard, really traumatic. Like, they tried to force you through this and force you through that and make you think this way. I was like, yeah, but there's a quote that I love. And I may be about to get crucified, no pun intended, for saying this, but it's not my quote. It's from a saint, so their own person, and it's St. Thomas Aquinas. And he has this quote, which is a little bit shocking, but he says, the church is a whore, but she's my mother.
Wow.
And the reason I love that quote is because just because I've been damaged, all of that damage made me who I am in a really healthy way. And all of the good stuff the church gave to me was also phenomenal. So allowing me to explore my gifts, allow me to explore my desire to help other people, what that looks like, give me the skills and the tools to be able to do that, give me the opportunity to speak on stages in front of people and help them and inspire them. And all this amazing stuff that I did while I was in the church would not have happened if I just went to Scouts.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't. So there is no way in hell, no pun intended, that I would be who I am right now, able to do what I do, able to teach, able to coach, able to build the business I've built and stand on a stage with confidence if it wasn't for the church. So as much as they gave me pain, they gave me permission in other ways, they gave me power in other ways, and they gave me purpose.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things I've learned in church is the power of having a mission.
Yeah.
Because everyone there is on a mission.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
They want to save the world.
Yeah.
In some capacity. Yes, okay, that's converting people, potentially. But they do, if they're truly people who follow Jesus, they want to change the world in a positive way. Okay, we may not agree necessarily with what that looks like, but that's what they're there to do. And learning to be on a mission is so, so valuable. And I think a lot of people in society do not have a mission. They definitely do not have a sense of shared mission. And they do not have a sense of community mission of, we want to make things better. It's me, I. And the church taught me not to be that way. And I love that about them.
Yeah. Sounds like you've compartmentalized it very well as well. So you can put that pain away and you can look at all the amazing things it's given you.
Yeah.
It's very wise and mature and forgiving.
Yeah, and it's not been easy. Like I've definitely had years of being in deep depression because you're trying to unpick the pain and what is real and what isn't real, and being told you're never going to be happy in the type of relationship that you feel is natural for you. Like, there's a lot to unpack there, but you get there. You just keep going, one step in front of the other.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah. Same with trading, to bring it back, one step in front of the other, and you can get there. And it's not always easy.
Yeah.
Like if anyone who tells you it's super easy to trade is a liar, because we know that anything worth doing is worth doing properly, and that process isn't always easy. And if everyone would do it if it was that easy, right? So the tough bit about trading is the emotional management and the mindset. The actual skill set is actually quite easy. It's the emotional and the mindset.
Such a good pivot.
Such a good pivot. Yeah.
So tell me what it was like building STARTrading.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing, but hard. I was speaking to someone who runs another education company, not in trading, a different one. He was like, so how have you grown? And I just went, sheer will.
Yeah.
Sheer will. Connecting with people, talking to people, really, really strong, valuable partnerships, doing a good job, like actually serving people, actually helping people, asking them to do testimonials. I mean, I could go into like the whole business piece of how we do it. And like we didn't used to do any paid marketing. We only started paid marketing about a year ago. Everything else was word of mouth. Wow. Not doing it alone, having team members, bringing them on to help with certain elements of what it means to be an education company. So we've got Lindsay at the moment, we've got Josh Jones at the moment, amazing people. Obviously yourself helping doing some of the coaching and the teaching. Like I'm only one person, I can't do everything when you get to a certain size, and I don't want to. Like, again, stay in your zone of genius. Yeah. So the more I can focus on the bits that I'm good at, the more that STARTrading has grown.
What do you wish everyone knew about STARTrading?
I wish everybody knew about, that's such a good question. What do I wish everybody knew about STARTrading? I wish everybody knew that when you say yes and you enroll in one of our mentorships, that we will stop at nothing to get you the results you want to get, but we can't do it for you. I think that's what I wish everybody knew.
That's a good message.
Yeah. Because I think sometimes people think they're nervous to do it because they're like, well, are you actually going to help me?
Yeah.
Are you actually going to support me? Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
That's literally what we're there for. And you've got currently in the community about 200 active people. So it's not just me. You've got 200 active students all willing you to succeed. That's what you get to become a part of.
Yeah. What's your favourite thing about it?
About STARTrading? The community.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like watching other students get success. And especially when, because of the way that we've grown, I don't necessarily do day-to-day coaching with people anymore unless they're doing like one-to-one. But those seeing people get success without me having been involved fully in that process because of what we've created is the thing which is helping them get success. That is rewarding on a whole other level.
So how many people have been through the training?
It is thousands. I don't know the exact number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you ever just take stock and look back and be like, this many thousands of people now know how to trade
No.
because of me?
No, I
You
don't.
should.
I know I should.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better at that. But I just always think, what's the next?
Yeah.
I am trapped in that. So my other half always says, when is enough enough? I went, never enough. And I launch into Greatest Showman, never enough. But it never is enough, because I want to change the world. Like that is, and I remember on one of my first dates with Josh, different to Josh Jones, we're not together, but different Josh, husband Josh. He said, "What do you want to do like with your life?" And I said, "I want to change the world." And he went, "Well, you can't do that. That's not possible." I went, "Watch me."
Yes.
Yeah, and he really I almost broke up with him.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, how dare you tell me what I can't do?
Yeah.
So I do want to change the world. I'm going to do it.
You already are.
I know.
You already are.
I know, but
Are
not
you
enough.
celebrating the milestones?
No.
Well, you definitely need to do
Actually,
that.
that's not true. When I certain milestones, so financial milestones, I do celebrate by buying a piece of art or something.
Yeah.
Which is why we have a few bits of art.
Yes.
But yeah, and again, what's been really good is this PR thing. They're asking for case studies, so I'm starting to ask people for proper case studies, and I'm like, oh wow, this is actually pretty amazing what we've helped people do.
Yeah.
So I am starting to take stock a bit more.
Yeah. You should be very proud.
Thank you.
And what's next for Lewis?
Well, that's a secret. That's under wraps.
Oh.
Yeah. But one of the things I can share about is that, yes, I'm doing this new newsletter, either weekly or monthly. Weekly or fortnightly. I'm not going to commit to it every single week because I'm just super busy.
I'm doing an occasional newsletter.
I'm doing an occasional
You'll find
newsletter,
out when.
yeah. And I'm going to start creating more resource now about financial wellness and good money habits as opposed to just trading.
Yeah.
So that's going to start coming out more. Again, just to broaden that impact that I can have on people, which I'll share with everybody in STARTrading, but we're going to share wider than that as well. So and there's some really cool stuff coming alongside that kind of thing, which I'm very much looking forward to.
What about you personally?
Kids in a few years' time.
Yeah.
Not ready for them just yet. Less travel.
Less travel?
Less travel, yeah. Now I've left London, I don't feel the need to escape in quite the same quantities. And I really love our house. It's so peaceful. It's so chill. You can't hear road noise. You can't hear people. You can't hear sirens.
It's incredible. I met an owl earlier.
You met an owl, yeah. Yeah. Ollie the owl from the barn. So I just love it. Like, I just don't feel the need. I mean, the annoying thing is we haven't had sun this summer. So I would like to be in my garden just in the sun with a glass of rosé or something. But yeah, I just don't feel the need to travel. So I just want to be at peace.
Yeah.
So one of my words for the year, I always give myself a word for the year, but it's dolce far niente, which is the joy of doing nothing. I've not mastered it yet because I've been so busy, but I'm trying to find moments of nothingness where I can just really relax and chill. So more of that.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Would you like some questions?
Oh God,
We've
okay,
had some questions come in for you. Let's have a look. Don't know if you're ready for these.
I don't know if I am.
All right, Lewis, what's your favourite strategy and why?
Pullbacks, because I started with them, and I'm just loyal.
Fair enough. When Lewis set out to learn trading, what was the initial goal? Was it to be a full-time trader?
Full-time is, I suppose, a bit of a misleading term because we don't spend all day trading. I don't know if I was that clear on what the goal was. I just wanted to get out my job. So the goal was probably generate enough money from trading, whatever that looked like, to get out of the job.
Nice. At what point was it that Lewis decided to start investing money earned from trading into property, or was it always the plan to get into property? And if not, what made him choose property?
So kind of actually answered that. So about 2 years in to trading live and generating enough capital and meeting other property investors through Rich Dad. So I suppose historically, I remember doing a paper round like 14 years old, and I always thought I don't trust the pension schemes, so I wanted property instead. So I remember thinking that then. So technically it was always in the plan, but not consciously.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Okay. What was your best trade?
Oh, best trade. Best trade for me is probably one of two. So I'm going to say best trade isn't the biggest trade. Best trade was the trade I did on oil, where I saw it was at a really key level and I bought in and I had like a risk reward of like 15 to 1 on it. And I just let it climb. And it went up. It was great. That's probably my best trade.
15 to 1.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So risked 1%, made 15% back.
Wow. Did you start with a lot of money?
No. I don't think I had £1,000 in my account to begin with. I think it was like £500, £600 to begin with. And then I added in from what I had left over from my job each month.
Yeah.
Also, I had a business when I was in the church. I had a business of counselling and coaching. So I had the day job, and then I also had that business as well. And so I took the money I was making from that and put it into my trading account.
How did you come up with your strategies?
Originally learned them from somebody else, and then over the years we've adapted them and changed them because market conditions do change. So we've adapted them from what they were to what they are now.
Nice. What are you motivated by?
So professionally, I suppose businessly, but professionally, changing people's lives for the better and having as big an impact as I possibly can. Personally, establishing peace. That's my motivation.
Nice. You are brilliant. That's nice.
No question needed.
You are brilliant. But you are in an industry with so many scammers. How does that make you feel?
It used to make me feel nervous. Now it doesn't make me feel nervous. I think it just means we have to work harder to build that trust and show we're different. So it's just every industry has got its challenges. Our industry is full of scammers and charlatans and sharks and blah, 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 which is again why I think we lean heavily into empowerment. Like we're not doing it for you because it's often people who say they're doing it for you that tend to be the scammers. So we are very much about empowering you to do it, showing you a different way, enabling you to do this for yourself. So yeah, and we just don't over promise and over deliver. And sorry, we don't over promise and we do over deliver with like the support that we give. And I mean, how many times have I said it on this podcast or previous episodes? Like, we can't do it for you. There's no guarantee. You have to do the work. So, yeah, I think it used to stress me out. It doesn't anymore. There is a lot of competition, but I don't think anybody can really compete with us and how we do what we do.
Nice. I've got a final question for you. What do most people not know about you?
I think most people don't know that I was ordained in the church or that I had a whole international business.
Yeah.
Coaching and counselling people and doing basic therapy work with people. I don't think a lot of people actually know that. Yeah, most people don't know that. Or that I once played Oliver in the West End.
Did you really?
Yeah. One night only.
Why one night only?
Well, it sounds bad. Well, now I've got to explain it. It doesn't sound as good. But I was part of a theatre school.
Yeah.
And they picked me to be Oliver. And they did like a one night West End thing. And so I was Oliver.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of
Nope.
food, glorious food?
No, maybe after tequila rosé later.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been very nice getting to know you better.
Thanks very much for all the questions.
Would you like a snack?
I'd love a
I
snack.
think you deserve it.
Should we do some snack magic?
Yeah.
Right. 3, 2, 1. And look at that. There we go.
Yes. Okay,
Right,
go.
I'll go first. Right, yeah. Oh, hello. I love it. I love some crispy, chippy things.
I know you do.
So these
can you
are red pepper pitta chips. That sounds pretty good, actually.
Can you say that 3 times?
Red pepper pitta chips. Red pepper pitta chips. Red pepper pitta chips. I definitely cheated there. But...
Pitta chips.
Well, I think, yeah, bits of pita bread. Then just baked.
Nice.
Really nice.
Good crunch.
That's a 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10.
Straight, yeah, definitely.
He loves a crisp. Right, what am I going to get? Oh. It's a yoghurt.
It is a yoghurt.
Lemon curd yoghurt. That's very surprising.
Taste the difference.
Oh.
Oh, you've yogurted all over your hand.
Would you like a spoon?
You just rubbed that yogurt in like it was moisturiser.
Why wouldn't you?
Right, there we go.
That's
Actually
really
nice.
pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually goes oddly well with the red pepper pitta crisps. Chips.
I'm going to give you 10 out of 10 because
Boom.
that was both surprising and pleasant.
Amazing.
Yes.
Good
Cool.
news.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast today, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.